Quite vivid memory I have is actually my very last day when I left to come over to England. I was around 9-10 years of age. And yeah, I just remember sort of being in the car and on the way to the airport to start this whole new life. And I quite, even to this day, I remember actually looking out the window and sort of thinking I may never see this city again. Grammar school, again, it was a sort of typical grammar school in the early 70s. You had a head teacher, a very strict head teacher who believed, who quite enjoyed, not just believed, but actually enjoyed giving corporal punishment to the boys. And there was only about a dozen or so Asian boys in the whole school. I remember queuing up to go into the dining halls, and I remember quite vividly the dining lady shouting out, "Immigrants over here on this side." The assembly and you know especially the religious part of it was a very important part of the school. Every morning you had to stand there and sing hymns, and if you didn't sing hymns, you got told in no uncertain terms. And a lot of these white kids also lived well away from from where we were, and hardly ever came across any Asian kids like ourselves. And we were like aliens, and we were treated as aliens as well, and we were told in no uncertain terms that how we were not wanted. Well, I mean, at that time, paki bashing was quite a regular thing, and people going around paki bashing. It was just something that everybody else did, whether it was on a Friday night after a few pints, or whether it was during a lunch hour at school, particularly around when schools were about to break up for summer or the holidays. We not only we had kids from our own school after us, but other schools, neighbouring schools, used to join in the fun as well. So yeah, we got it from all ends. So yeah, it wasn't a particularly pleasant time, but again, we had to learn to fight back. When it came to a weekend, or particularly on a Sunday, there wasn't a huge choice in terms of social activities. You either went to see a Bollywood film or you played cricket. People from the Azam League, there was a club that my brother actually played for, the Trinity Cricket Club, and they asked me if I would get involved in organising their team initially. They also asked me if I'd go along with them to the Azam meetings to represent the club, and that was my sort of initial involvement with Azam League. But again, for some reason, I got asked to get more involved in the administration of the league as well. So initially, I was asked to become on the umpires committee, and then eventually I was asked to become the chairman. I've never actually played a single match in the Azam League or in any other league for that matter. Yeah. Because a lot of these guys had either played on a Saturday or tried to play on a Saturday and not always had good experiences in other leagues and other teams, other clubs and so on. And they actually saw this as a way out. So there were initial issues that we had to learn as a league, as individuals, as go on how to be administrators. We didn't really know what was best for us, what rules worked for us and what rules didn't. So it was simply a case of learning as we went on. I can't remember the exact year, but it would have been in the mid-80s when I became chairman. I wanted to prove a point that this was actually a league like any other league, but apart from the fact that all the players happen to be Asian. When we talk about Yorkshire cricket, I mean, the Yorkshire cricket had always had this image of not being inclusive and so on, in fact, even being racist, and I'd experienced some elements of that, but and there were some positive moves made in terms of bringing us closer to where they were, and we took some steps in terms of opening up a dialogue with Yorkshire cricket in terms of what our needs were and where they could help us. When people talk about Yorkshire cricket, people automatically refer to Yorkshire County Cricket Club. For me, as chairman of the Azam League, the more important thing was the Yorkshire Cricket Association, because that was the organisation that actually oversaw the development of cricket, and particularly recreation cricket, and that was more important, more relevant to the Azam League. As far as the club was concerned, to be honest, they might as well be at the time, they might as well have been on another planet, because I didn't really associate, and a lot of other people like myself didn't associate ourselves with the club or even England at the time. Obviously, we had our own teams we supported, whether it's India, Pakistan, and we even got to an extent where no matter who England were playing, we supported the other team, whether it was the Australians or West Indies and so on. I think he's just, unfortunately, as as Norman Tebbit said at the time, that we all failed that test. So we were brought up on the likes of Imran Khan and Wasim Akram and Sachin Tendulkar and so on. They were our heroes, and as good as Jeff Boycott or Mike Braley were at the time, we never sort of recognised ourselves with it being part of that cricket. We had our own cricket and we were quite happy with that. For a young man from our community to come through to play at a professional level at any within any county, it would have been a huge effort, or somebody very special to come through from our community. We've seen clubs like where we are today in our neighbourhoods. Unfortunately, in the past we've not been able to have access to it because it's been predominantly white. And we've been, gates haven't been open to us. But now the issue of white flight, where there's a lot of white people who lived in these neighbourhoods, unfortunately they've moved out of the area. Whereas a lot of clubs in those areas where people have left, we've actually seen a lot of the demise of a lot of cricket clubs. But fortunately, in some areas, the Asian community has actually stepped in and taken over some of those clubs and kept them going. And I think that will continue to happen. And I think it's really important that happens as well, because obviously, particularly in the city areas, we don't want to lose facilities, and particularly cricket facilities.